What's up, everybody? I'm the BurningSkyCloud, and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. So, we're a human ambassador in the land of dragons. We met up with our old pal Reza, who seems to know what's going on more than we do. And we've only been here, what, a day? Anyway, we're continuing on to see what we can find out. So, the next day, I awoke with many questions lingering in my head. I considered calling someone from the police department to ask about Reza and Maverick, but in the end, I decided against doing so as I was sure they would contact me if they had anything to tell me. I knew it was no use worrying about it for now, so I settled for starting another book. Until the doorbell rang. It didn't take very long, though, before the doorbell rang. Did Bryce, the chief of police, take it upon himself to escort me today? Oh, it's you again. Are you surprised? No, but I guess it will mean bad news. Afraid so. How are you holding up? Better than yesterday, that's for sure. Let's go for a walk then, shall we? Sure. This time, I was taking along a different route than yesterday, and I was quite sure there was more to this than just taking a walk. I'll just go ahead and guess you didn't find Reza. Yeah, we hoped he would have come back on his own by now. Do you have any idea where he might be? Maybe he mentioned some sort of place in particular that holds some meaning to him. No, not really. We didn't get a chance to talk much at all yesterday before there's that too. I have no idea why Reza would have done anything like that. I had the impression that they weren't very fond of each other, but this... How is he, by the way? Oh, Maverick is doing fine, but there is plenty of blame to go around. You're right, they didn't particularly like each other. Then why was Maverick stuck with him? In his statement, Maverick says he suspected Reza of planning some sort of attack. Do you know anything about that? No, he only told me something was going to happen. Not that he was planning anything. At least, that was the impression I got. He's suspecting you too, by the way. That you both planned this all from the beginning. No, that wouldn't make sense. Actually, none of this is making any sense. Why would we go through all those lengths of our agreement only to jeopardize it by doing something like this? We even already have our PDAs and we don't have much to show for it yet. If we had any nefarious plans, this wouldn't have been a very good idea. Now, is there a way I can... No settings. You have a good point. I believe you, but from our side, we only have Maverick's word on the whole matter. After all, he was the one who spent the most time with Reza since he arrived here. But even then, he didn't really have any reason to follow you yesterday, and his behavior was completely out of line. I'm just glad you came out fine. If he wasn't on mandatory sick leave, he would be suspended right now. We'll have to wait until this whole thing is over before we decide what to do with him. I can assure you, this won't be taken lightly. Maybe they both acted in the heat of the moment. Maybe. We still got quite a lot on our hands now, though. We still got quite a lot on our hands now, though. We have a wounded dragon and a missing human. This could lead to a diplomatic crisis. Maybe Reza will still show up soon, and we can get all of this behind us. I hope so too. I really wouldn't want to jeopardize everything over this unfortunate incident. Yeah, how about we both just keep quiet about this whole thing for now? After all, I don't think any of us wants our people panicking about this already, right? I merely nodded in agreement. Eventually, we arrived at the police station, where the chief took my formal statement in regards to yesterday's event. He asked me about Reza and Maverick, too. Not that I knew much of anything that preceded yesterday's events, or the mysterious catastrophe Reza had mentioned. Afterwards, he thanked me and left to file my statement while I sat by his table, waiting and listening to the goings-ons of the small provincial town police department. When he returned, he was approached by someone who seemed to have urgent news. A lot of talking between the two ensued that I couldn't make out from my position. This went on for a bit until Bryce returned to me. Afraid I have more bad news for you. Reza has now officially become a murder suspect. Murder? Ooh. We're headed to the crime scene and hope you come with us. Me? A crime scene? I don't really know much about forensics. It's just that you're the only link to the Reza we have. Consider what he said would happen to us. It's in all of our interests that we find him as soon as possible, and if he has anything to do with it, you might be able to help us find him. Your cooperation would certainly be appreciated, and it would be a nice gesture to show us that you're trustworthy in the eyes of those who might think otherwise after what happened yesterday. This is all too coincidental, honestly. Will you help us? I will help you. I mean, I suppose I don't really have much of a choice here, but you're right. We've got to find Reza, and if that's what it takes, then I'll do it. Very well. Let us go then. I think there's someone else behind this. On our way to the crime scene, he tried to prepare me for what would come. I had studied biology, so I was familiar with the sight of dead animals. Asking myself how similar this would be, I wondered if my reaction would be any different if it wasn't a dragon, but a human corpse I would be seeing. When we arrived, we were met by Sebastian, who gave us an overview of the whole situation. This morning, the victim was found by a delivery flyer for our restaurant. Blood loss from multiple wounds are the likely cause of death. Forensics was already here, so feel free to poke around. A few paces in front of us, the unfortunate victim lay on the ground, covered by a sheet that concealed the body, but not the large red stain beneath. We approached, while Sebastian went off to deter any curious onlookers. I know it won't be pretty, and I'm sorry for putting you through this, but you know what's at stake here. Just remember what I told you, and you should be fine. Alright. Are you ready? Just do it. I guess so. Let's catch up, everyone. It's fake blood. What do you think? Well, he's definitely dead. Yeah. Rip. Who talks like that? Let's just say this will be your test, and tell me what you can deduce from what you see. Give it your best shot. Well, I mean, Reza could have always grabbed a weapon of some kind and slashed that guy up. Investigation. Start. Feel like I'm still in Phoenix, right? 2 wings, 2 legs, just like the waitress in the cafe. About as big as a human, lengthwise, if not slightly taller. The wingspan would certainly look impressive at that size. The wounds are kinda hard to miss. True. But what are they telling you? He was already dead when he got these wounds. It was suicide. They were inflicted with a sharp implement. The perpetrator was an unusually large and small person. They are clean cuts, like from a knife or another sharp instrument. That is true, but why does this matter? mean, dragons use the knives, but have there actually been any? No, actually, no. There haven't been any weapons. What is it? But what does it matter? Dragons don't use knives. Oh man, my choice is gonna matter because I did kind of look up this game somewhat, not like spoilers or anything, but just like I found out that there are multiple endings, and I want to get the true ending, but I don't exactly know how to do that. I'll go with that. You don't think the murder weapon matters? Dragons don't use knives. Actually, we do. Mostly by those who have the proper hands to use them. But still. It could have only been someone with hands. That's right. Only those of us who walk on two legs have the proper dexterity to wield a knife effectively. Most other dragons would probably just bite instead. Of course, this rules out most of the bigger dragons and flyers. But then, Reza still has his... what was it called again? You mean his gun? Yeah. If it was him, why would he kill someone with a knife rather than just use this gun on him? He did not want to make any noise. He did not want to make any noise. He did not want to make any noise. After all, he ran away from Maverick trying to hide from the police. Something as loud as a gunshot would have easily given away his position and alerted others in the area. Right. That could be a good reason. By the way, which one do you think was the lethal one? I think it was the one on his neck. I think it was the one on his neck. That's right. If all the blood from it wasn't a giveaway, this is a stab wound. Characterized by a rather small footprint, you can tell it's also the deepest one. And from the location, it's pretty obvious this must have done tremendous damage. What else do you see? Well, there's a lot of blood. The blood splatters suggest that he died here. He died here, else there would have been a trail we could follow. The splatters also suggest that this is where they fought. That's true. Unfortunately, it doesn't help with determining who the perpetrator is. Objection! Oh, that's totally a Phoenix Wright reference. Excuse me? Sorry, I just always wanted to say that. Go on, please. What about the blood on his muzzle? You tell me. He's a vampire. The blood on his muzzle just says that he fought back. It might be the perpetrator's blood. Yes, that is true. I expect forensics already took a sample of it, so it might actually help us determine who the perpetrator is. I think that's about everything. Investigation over. For someone who says they hadn't been done this kind of thing before, that wasn't actually too bad. I know some recruits who did it a lot worse during their first time, for sure. Hey Chief, do you still need the witness here for anything? Sebastian approached with a dragon who had discovered the body earlier. I recognized her as the waitress from the cafe. She seemed distraught, which given the situation wasn't very surprising. I don't think so. Take her to the department, get her statement written up, and that should be it. Sure thing. Alright, miss. We're going to have to take you to the department. Of course. When she spotted me, however, her composure brightened visibly. Oh, it's the human. Well, I'm a human. Well, I'd call you by your name, but you never actually told me it. And that is true. It's Scaly. What are you even doing here? Do you work for our police now? Looks like it. Maybe I should be calling you officer then. I don't think I'm quite there yet. By the way, I didn't know you also did deliveries. I do a little bit of everything, really. That's nice. I love my scrambled eggs yesterday. If you like it so much, why don't you take our number? We could deliver something to you next time if you don't want to come in. Thanks. Oh, wait. Sorry. I guess we should get going. Bye. What do we do now? I suppose we'll head off too. Unless... Oh no. What is it? We've got a violent homicide. And of course nobody from the department tells me. I had to find out from a neighbor who wanted to ask me about it. Good thing rumors travel fast, eh? Of course nobody told you. You're on sick leave. Mandatory sick leave, I might add. I'm not here in any official capacity, you see. I am merely enjoying a curative walk in the fresh air and happen to come across you by accident. Right. What do you want? I don't want anything. I just find it interesting that no one tells me about this, but the prime suspect's buddy can mess with the investigation. I see how it is. I know what you were thinking, but don't jump to conclusions here. I don't need to jump to conclusions. I think the dead body we found says it all. You really have an attitude problem. You know, if you weren't on sick leave, you'd be suspended right now for attacking Scaly yesterday. Do you even have any idea what kind of repercussions this could have on us all? Me attack Scaly? As far as I can see, I'm the only one who's been injured here. Besides, I'm so sorry for apparently being the only one who's doing this damn job. Right. Let's just all sit idly by while the suspect's on the loose and planning his next move. You know, whatever it was Reza was talking about, he was going to tell me just before you showed up yesterday. I don't need to hear you, of all people, belittling me about this. What's your problem? If anything, I want to find him just as much as you do. Don't compare yourself to me. Your words mean nothing. Enough. You shouldn't even be here, so you better go now and get some rest before I have to take disciplinary action. Fine. But when we find him, you'll see I was right. If I have to prove it to myself, so be it. Can he even just do his own investigation like that? Well, as long as he doesn't interfere with us, we can't really stop him from doing things in his own free time. I see. I suspect he won't adhere to the standards of performing an unbiased investigation, though. He has already made up his mind. It's clear to me he won't be looking for facts, just for evidence to support his own view in order to prove it to us or himself. Who knows? He's always been like that. Always something to prove. We'll have to be careful. He'll be looking for Reza soon enough. Let's hope we find Reza before he does. Yeah. Don't worry, Razor will turn up eventually. Or will he? Dun dun dun! I surely hope so. All things considered, I had to admit that it remained a possibility that Maverick was right. But could the Razor I knew really be a murderer? You know what? If you think of something that might help with the investigation, or if you need anything else, just call me. I will. Well, I think we're done here. Let's go. Bryce led me back to the apartment. I guess there wasn't really much for me to do in the meantime, as I was spared the more arduous parts of the investigation. Maybe I should have been glad about this, though now I had an afternoon to fill. What should I do? I'm gonna meet with Remy. I haven't seen him since we got here. He told me to meet him in the lobby, but nobody's here. Maybe I should look for him. He can't be too far after all. It was quite a spacious building, lined with many bookcases on multiple floors. From the looks of it, it seemed to be as much of an archive as it was a library, with immaculate order permeating the chamber. It was the kind of place I could see myself getting lost in for an afternoon or two, thumbing through all the interesting books it could offer me. I was looking around in wonder when suddenly a voice penetrated the silence. Remy! I couldn't see who the voice belonged to, but it came from the more private area in the back. It was followed by footsteps that approached it. Oh, you're still here? Of course I am still here. I have business to attend to. Certainly. I just assumed you'd be done by now, Amara. Guess your assumption was wrong then. Be a good boy and bring me some coffee, will you? Of course, Amara. I heard movement, though I still could not see either of the two who spoke behind all the bookcases. I assumed the area was off limits to a visitor like myself and decided to wait. Here you go. Now let me read in peace, you silly boy. Of course. I heard him walk towards my direction, until he emerged from behind a bookcase and spotted me. Oh, hello, Sky. I didn't expect you so soon. Better be safe than sorry. Well, I'm glad to see you again, at any rate. Who was that back there? I guess you heard that, didn't you? That was my superior. She's the Minister of Culture and Arts, which means I'm technically in her employment, though generally speaking, I work for the council at large, not just her. Oh. So this is where you work, huh? Most of the time, yes. That makes you a librarian, I suppose. There's a little more to it. I'm not just in charge of the books. I'm a scholar and study them, too. For example, if the council requests knowledge on certain topics like facts, statistics, or other information of interest, it is part of my job to research it and present it to them in an appropriate manner. So you're basically an expert on everything? No, just an expert at finding information. Anyways, was there a particular reason why you wanted to meet me? You're just too damn cute, that's why. I was interested in what you said the other day. You have myths about humans? Oh, right. I still have work to do, but I could show you something afterwards. Either way, now that you're here, you can help me with something. I've got books that need to be sorted over there. Alright, how do I fit them in? Alphabetically? Oh no, the arrangement you see in this library is based on a sophisticated system that sorts everything in a very intuitive manner based on a number of criteria: genre, author, complexity, and age. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of specimens, so just sorting them by alphabet would be far from efficient. Alright, Didn't get that there for a moment. That does sound very intuitive. It is. Basically, these 8 books you see over there were all part of a section that was moved, so they have to be sorted into their new area. The problem is their labels are so old that they've started to fade away, which makes sorting them a little harder. They will get new labels soon, but until then, we'll just have to make do with what we have here. All of them are by Scaly, a writer on the subject of history, and a very prolific one, I might add. You will find the shelf they belong to over there. Now it is just a matter of placing them in the right order from oldest to newest. I have written down everything still legible from the old labels here. For someone like you, putting them in order shouldn't be a problem. In any case, I'll be working on something else in the meantime, so let me know once you're done. Hints. The Third War is directly preceded by the Spark. The First War is directly preceded by the Inception. The Invention is not the third, seventh, or last book. The Second War is the fourth book. There was only one book before the First War. The Enlightenment comes at some point after the Third War. So 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh! The first book is... Show more books. So the Inception is... No, so whatever, see, what do I need? The tribe. The Inception, the First War. Let me see. The Second War. The fifth book is... The Spark. The Third War. The Invention. Yeah, so Spark, Third War, Invention, and whatever the last book is. I think that's it. Oh, you're done? Let's take a look then. Sorry to disappoint you, but it seems only 2 books are in the right place. Let me try again. Alright, I'll come back in a bit. So... the second word is always going to be the fourth. So, let me think here. So the first word is the third. The Spark of the Inception is the second. And... alright, so maybe the Invention's the first. Alright. Oh, the Inception. Inception. The first were, the second were. The tribe. The third were, and there. A single book. Oh. So then... Maybe it was that. The... Inception, then... The first war. Then the second war. And the spark... The third war. Oh. Still a single book? Oh. Shoot. That was my mistake. There, that should be it. In any case, there's a box that belongs in storage. You can put that away. I'll finish the last bit of sorting, and then we will be done for the day. Whoopsie. Sure thing. Great. See you in a bit then. I accidentally clicked with mouse. Phew. That is heavier than I thought. I lifted the box and carried it towards its shelf, but just as I was about to reach it, I tripped suddenly, sending me to the ground as the contents of the box spilled across the floor. Ouch! Oops. I scrambled to gather the various items as the voice of the dragon called out to me. Is everything alright? Before I could answer, Remy came around the corner, his face bearing a look of disapproval. He stooped over and helped me pick up the spilled objects. Yeah, I'm fine. I was mainly asking about the priceless artifacts you just dropped. I'll just apologize. Well, it doesn't look like anything is broken. That could have ended up much worse. What is all this stuff anyway? In preparation for your arrival, I wanted to study what knowledge we had on humans. And what did you learn? Heh, not much. The human is a creature shrouded in mystery and legend, yet one we apparently share some history with. Sure, Dragon. Tell me I'm the mythological creature. As the story goes, we dragons were once a primitive and savage civilization, living in caves and whatnot. We fought other creatures and amongst each other for resources and territory. One day, however, a human arrived who performed many miracles and gave us the gifts of electricity and reason. We refer to this event as our awakening. What happened to them? And who were they anyway? They say it was a divine creature, a supernatural being that saved our species by making peace with our clans and uniting us, as our numbers were dwindling from our pointless conflicts. And when the deed was done, they ascended to the heavens from where they came, were turned into a dragon and lived among us, ruling with kindness and wisdom until their eventual passing depended on who you ask. And what do you make of this story? As unlikely as it sounds, there is evidence of unprecedented technological advancement in our timeline. We have artifacts from that time that couldn't have been built with the knowledge we had back then. I'm starting to think you already have a theory. Indeed, I take it you are familiar with the way the portals through which you traveled here actually work. Not very. Actually, I am. It's simple, really. There are spontaneous wormholes that pop into existence now and then. but their highly unstable nature means that they instantly collapse in on themselves. The machinery of the portal merely stabilizes the wormhole so that we may utilize it. We are actually just taking advantage of a naturally occurring phenomenon. Fascinating stuff. That's pretty cool. Long story short, my theory is that this legendary person stumbled upon one of these natural wormholes in the split second it existed, bringing them into our world. Being thrust into an unfamiliar world with no means to return to their own. Talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Or just the right one, if you ask me. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. What I would give to know more about them. How do you know so much about the portal anyway? We found it a while ago, so we've had time to study it. Not me, personally, mind you, but I followed its developments with great interest. What else have you discovered about it? Not much, I'm afraid. We didn't want to take the risk of permanent damage, so we wouldn't do anything rash until we completely understand the technology and can replicate it for ourselves. So far, the only thing that has done for us was locating your portal and connecting us to it. From the interface, it appears to have more functions, but we haven't been able to get any of them to work. We were not even sure what it was capable of when we initially turned it on. Only after some time of being active did it actually find your portal, and only then were we able to make the connection. Making that discovery must have been very exciting, especially when you made contact with us and started exchanging letters with us. Oh, you have no idea. Especially when Reza arrived and he turned out to be a human, of all things. Some people still worship them, you know. You've mentioned that before. How does that work? Do you have some kind of organized religion based around it? Not exactly. It is more like an adoration on a personal level. I count myself amongst them if it wasn't for the fact that I consider myself to have a more reasonable approach to it than others. For example, there are those that believe there is much more to your sudden appearance than there really is. I think they expect some sort of miracle from you, similar to what was ascribed to humans in the past. Well, I can tell you that there is nothing supernatural about me. That's what I expected. Either way, as a scholar, I'm looking forward to see everything your PDAs have to offer. I could show you sometime. I see. Well, don't worry about explaining them to me. I'm sure you have much more important things to do while you are here. It is just a question of time, until one of them ends up with me, anyway. Actually, the PDAs are one of the reasons I volunteered to come here. What do you mean? I know them pretty well. Enough to explain how they work, at least. Of course, that's far from the only reason. I just thought I'd be the kind of person who'd meet all of the requirements, and it turned out I was. I see. It was nice of you to volunteer, when you must have known there would be considerable risks in coming here. You volunteered as well when you came to meet me, didn't you? I wouldn't think this kind of thing would fall under your jurisdiction regularly. And that is true, but by this point, my interest in these matters shouldn't surprise you. I was more surprised that I arrived under cover of darkness to meet an ambassador, though I haven't seen much of you since. Initially, they wanted to have an official reception headed by myself, but in the end, they changed their minds due to security concerns, as I told you back then. I suppose that's also why I'm being escorted by the police all the time. Yeah, that was supposed to be my job too, until someone from the police department objected and advocated for more security. Better be safe than sorry, I suppose. Let me guess. That someone was Maverick. How'd you know that? Just a hunch. At least I still got to meet you. Were you nervous when you did? Only the brave or the foolish wouldn't be. I consider myself neither. I have to admit, I was too. I was speechless when I saw you, and that wasn't just a side effect of the teleportation. To be fair, I would have been as well, if we didn't already know about humans in Reza. There was a moment of silence between us, and our eyes met briefly. when suddenly a loud call echoed through the building. Remy! I better go and see what this is about, what that is about. Maybe it would be better if you didn't stay out in the open. At the end of the hallway, you can find my office towards the right. Wait for me there. Alright. Ooh, nice and quiet. So this is your office, Remy. Look in the mirror. It's just a mirror. Nothing special about it. Oh wait. Let's wait for a bit. Nothing happened. Can I keep waiting? Let's wait some more. Nothing happened. Can I still? Well, let's wait even longer. Nothing happened. Alright, this was long enough. Your boredom has increased by 3 points. Look at this notebook. Heavy paper, perfect binding. I can tell by the cover alone that this is not the cheap stuff, but the result of quality bookmaking. Alright, let's take a peek inside. Looks like unsorted notes. His handwriting is terrible. Nope. Can't make it out. Look at this computer. I wonder if their computers are similar to ours. Let's see. At the press of a button, the screen came to life, accompanied by the whir of the machine. After a few seconds, colorful images appeared on the screen. Have you come here to beg for mercy? Oh? Hello? No, Alaya. We've come to stop you. Your reign of terror over the land of Marmoa is over. You're outnumbered. Just give up and we can end this without bloodshed. The area is teeming with my soldiers, outnumbering you thousands to one. But I don't even need them. Who knows? If you survive long enough, you might just see why I'm called Alaya the Ascendant. Oh, you pompous censored word. Calm down, Edith. Focus. I'm sorry it has come to this, Alaya, but this ends now. Ronan, get them. Grr. Battle start. Edith uses Whirlwind. Ronan takes 326 damage. Bonar uses Earthquake. What is this, a Pokemon battle? No, a Dragon battle. 400. How much power does he have? Invokes Cosmic Horror. Bonar takes 1089 damage. Ooh. Damage! Damage all around. Oh, your PC ran into problems and need to restart. What the? Glad it wasn't me. Hey, what are you doing? I think I broke it. Oh no, let me take a look. Why did you even touch the computer? I just wanted to see what was on it. Well, whatever you did, at least it seems to be okay. Oh no, my game! What's wrong? When you touched the computer, you saw a game running, right? Yeah, I played a little. I saved it specifically at that moment to play it later, and now it's all gone. Oh dear. What do you mean it's all gone? So much preparation, so many hours spent grinding just to get there. I can't do all of that again. You wouldn't understand. I would, actually. It is so tedious when it comes to grinding that you don't want to do it a second time. Actually, I do. See, I told you. You do? Yeah, we used to have similar games where I come from. I see. Well, at least my office is still standing. Speaking of which, what's with the bed? It looks like you live here. When I have to work late, it's just easier to stay here. Besides, I have the knowledge of the whole library at my fingertips, and can use the resources and equipment as I please, like this computer. Don't you have one at home? No, we generally don't have this kind of technology in every household, though it's not exactly rare either. We just use it where we need it. Back home, we used to have computers everywhere. Most of us even carried one on our wrist wherever we went. Is that so? Oh, that means the library will be closing pretty soon. If you want to do or ask anything in particular, now's the time. I'd like to know more about your human myths. There's a lot we could get into, but I'm afraid we won't have enough time now. Maybe another day. Anyways, thank you for your help. If there is in any way I can repay you, just let me know. How about you invite me to dinner sometime? That's fine with me. You've got my number, so call me about it when you have the time. I will. Have a nice evening. You too. We parted amicably, or so I thought. Would I see him again? I wasn't sure, but I kept his number, just in case. More free time. What should I do? I'm gonna go meet with Lorem. I went to the bar Lorem had suggested as our meeting place. When I looked around, I saw Bryce sitting at a table, talking to someone I couldn't see. I lingered on him for a second, but soon spotted Lorem in the corner of my eye. There you are! Hey, Lorem! It's good to see you. I thought you might not show up. Well, am I late? Not at all. I got here early. I'm kind of surprised you wanted to meet me here. Don't take this the wrong way, but are you even old enough to drink? What are you talking about? Oh, I see. I can assure you I am a fully grown adult. My species doesn't get much bigger than this. Speaking of which, are you fully grown yet? How big do humans usually get? And how do you stack up, comparatively speaking? Oh, and would you mind if I took some notes? Before we get to that, you haven't even told me what exactly all of this is for. Are you sure you're not a reporter? If I was, Sebastian wouldn't have let me meet you in the first place. And I thought the uniform was just a clever disguise. It's real, though. Sebastian knows I work for the local post office. Excuse me, but this still doesn't really tell me anything about why I'm here. You're a postman who wants to interview me for what, exactly? Sorry, I guess I got ahead of myself here. Maybe a full introduction is in order, and after that, you can still decide whether you want to go through with this or not. Sure, go ahead. I recently graduated college with a degree in computing and moved in here with a good friend of mine. This town doesn't exactly offer the best opportunities to put my degree to good use, though. Then why move here in the first place? Living in the city can be very expensive. I can always move later when I get a job there. I've got other plans right now, though. I'm working on a video game. You know, I actually wanted to be a video game developer in the past. Create my own games. But I realized that now that I think about it, I realize that, there's a lot more to it than just making your own. Well, actually, maybe I don't need to be part of a big company to make my own game. I can probably make my own game in the way that I can think about it. Because I've got plenty of idea for games. I had this idea for a spiral game at some point. Something to do with a tree. I think I still have the notes somewhere, but I don't know where they are exactly. I'll have to look at that later. Oh, you said it was going to be about something serious. But this is serious. Video games and computers are just starting to catch on in places like this town. Making good content will be very important to give a good first impression. And humans have always been part of our media. Books, movies, and now games. With you on our side, this could be an amazing opportunity. Well... Oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. Why? I don't know. You don't seem so thrilled about doing this anymore. Besides, your job must be really stressful, and you're probably already in the spotlight all the time. And now, to top it all off, you get some postman harassing you for an interview. If you wanted to leave, I'd get that. Nah, I'm staying. Well, I'm already here and have nothing else to do, so let's make the most of this. Yes, thank you. At least I won't have to be so careful now. With a reporter, I'd have to worry about things being misinterpreted or being taken out of context. You should still be careful. What you tell me now will influence how your entire species will be represented in my game. Don't worry, though. I'll treat this delicate matter with the required finesse. Don't get ahead of yourself. We haven't even started yet. How should we do this? Let me think. Why do you want to make this game in the first place? I've always wanted to make a video game. I've had this idea for a while, and it seems now is the right time to do it. It's almost as if you arrived at the perfect moment. I don't know. Don't you think my visit will overshadow your efforts? People may not be so interested in playing a game about humans anymore if they had a real one to show up. Good point. But the vast majority won't get to meet you personally anyway. If I say I did and modeled the humans in the game after you, people will flock to it and get a similar experience. As long as it's based on the truth, you have my support. Awesome! Okay, but why focus on humans? What makes us so important? If there's one thing that people here love, it's humans. It doesn't matter if they just see them in the media or believe in them as mythical creatures. For me, humans were always real. I just didn't know whether I'd ever get a chance to meet one myself. I guess I can cross that one off the bucket list. Now that we're here, I can tell you that no expense will be spared to make our portrayal of humans as accurate as possible. You certainly seem passionate enough about this. For good reason. I just love humans. If you say it like that, it actually ends up sounding pretty weird. Besides, what if I turn out to be a horrible person? What would you think about humans then? It wouldn't change anything, because I wouldn't base my opinion of an entire species on interactions with a single individual. Then what is your current opinion of us based on? Just the myths we have in the previous portrayals of humans in our media. But I suppose that's why I'm here talking with you right now. I want the truth, and all of it. There's nothing better than the truth. Telling you all of it might not be such a good idea. Oh yeah, I guess that would take a lot more time than we have today. Anyway, what's the actual game about? What do you do? It's a community simulation game. It all starts with the player character moving into a procedurally generated community, which is inhabited by all kinds of mythical creatures. humans included. Mythical creatures like humans. Not only are the towns you move into unique, but the inhabitants are too. There are a variety of traits that get randomized, both in looks and personality. There are many things you can do, but it's very open-ended, and you can live your life there however you want to. That sounds interesting. It is. At least, I hope others feel the same way about it. What other mythical creatures are there besides humans? I haven't worked that out yet, but humans alone give us a lot of material to work with. How so? The question of the mythical human can be tackled in a variety of ways. There are many different interpretations of what humans are like. For example, in general, the mythical human can be divided into 3 categories. Firstly, the human is a physical creature. Secondly, the human is a non-physical entity. And thirdly, the human as a spiritual being. Let's start with the physical aspects. Oh my gosh, are we really doing this? Sure, since one of our myths tell us that the human who created us eventually turned into a dragon, there is a lot of room for interpretation as to how similar humans actually are to dragons. I can see you don't have wings, but most of us are able to create fire in some way, or at least have a breath weapon. How about you? I can rub 2 sticks together to make fire. Does that count? Not really. Having hands that are dexterous enough to do that is remarkable, though. It is a bit strange, though, because our myths also say that you gave that ability to us. Interesting. Maybe it's meant to be taken literally, meaning that when that ability was given to us, you lost it. No, that's not how it works. Or maybe we never had it in the first place. Humans are known to have created a lot of things out of nothing. After all, we only needed to discover how to create and use fire because we didn't have a natural ability to do so. We have a proverb that sums this up pretty well. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. So a lack of natural abilities drove innovation forward. What an interesting thought. Here's another thing. You may have many different images of humans, but in the end, only one can be right. It's also possible that what you've been led to believe about humans doesn't actually refer to us at all. Are you implying that you aren't human? I'm an alien. No, I'm just saying that if you really hadn't been in contact with humans before, as your myths imply, they would need to belong to the same species as me, and thus be very similar to myself. If they aren't, then either way they weren't humans at all, or have very different origins. So you say there is a possibility that our humans and your humans may be something different altogether. I suppose you are right in the way that our images of humans are very inconsistent. They certainly can't be all humans in the way that we would refer to as a single species. The name should probably be reserved for yours. And we haven't even touched on the other 2 categories of humans. What did you call them again? Non-physical human entities and spiritual humans. What's the difference? Honestly, the definitions get a bit muddled here, going by conventional belief. A ghost could be a human who has died and thus changed into a different form. We would call this a spiritual human. An angel, on the other hand, would be classified as a non-physical entity. What do you know about angels? Angels basically look like humans with wings. Their existence in ancient scripts was used to lend some credence to the theories about humans having become dragons. Because of the wings? Exactly. But some of your dragon species don't have wings either. Yes, as I said, once you start delving into that kind of stuff, it all becomes very convoluted. When we met you, you also told me something about a 4-headed human. Right. With that, we'd go into the realm of creatures that just don't make much sense at all. Having 4 heads just seems unlikely from an evolutionary perspective. That might not really matter if we're talking about a non-physical entity or a spiritual being, though. So in the end, you have a lot of different ideas whose only connection to each other is that you use the word human to describe them in some way. And they share at least some basic characteristics. You fit those as well, by the way. What are they? You certainly are not a reptile like us, but you don't look like a conventional mammal either. We are mammals, though. Yes, but you are so different from other mammals, we know that ultimately you are quite unique. We don't know any other sentient mammals. You've got a point there, I'll give you that. Strangely enough, we have plenty of human-like creatures in our mythologies as well. Oh, hang on. Strangely enough, we have plenty of human-like creatures in our mythologies as well. I didn't realize that was me talking. Oh, do tell. You already mentioned ghosts, but some other ones include dwarves, giants, fairies, and blemis. Never heard of that one before. I think I've heard most of these before, but what is a blemis? Essentially, a blemis is a human without a head. Oh. A human without a head. How does that work? How do they eat? Instead of a head, they just have all their facial features on their chest. That's disturbing. That's a rather weird mental image. There are also a lot of half-creatures that share some characteristics with humans and other animals. Like mere humans? Sure. Lastly, there are creatures that are said to be able to shapeshift into human form. Strangely enough, some of our dragon myths said that they could shapeshift into humans, or that certain countries' royalty are descended from dragons. That would imply that they are genetically compatible with humans. Apparently. Sounds rather outlandish if you ask me. We certainly can't shapeshift like that. I suppose that's why they're just myths. Right. To be fair, we do have a lot of myths that seem quite out there as well, compared to what you're like. Anyway, how come you know so much about myths? All part of being an ambassador. Not only did I learn about dragon myths in order to compare them to what you're like, but I also studied myths about creatures that are similar to humans, so I could find out how similar they were to yours. Well, you're doing an excellent job so far, and it's bound to help me a lot with my game as well. You're going to pull all of that into the game? Let's just say it gives me some excellent material to work with. I thought you wanted to give an accurate portrayal of humans, not just collect myths. One species will certainly be modeled after you, but that doesn't mean we can't introduce some variety with the others. People will love it if we also bring some of the more unusual myths to life. I see. But since we also want each of the normal human characters to be unique, I'd like to know how much variety there really is within your species. I've seen Reza before, so comparing him to you already gives me a bit of an idea. But how far do these differences go exactly? When we arrived here, you asked me if I was old enough to drink. That leads me to believe that your average human must be a lot taller. And that's true. You could say Reza would be about average for an adult. Not that it would be impossible to get a good deal bigger than him or even smaller than you, but those cases are rather rare and usually the result of medical conditions. I see. What about colors? Are there any humans who are blue like me? Well, there are those people in Vegas known as the blue people or blue group or whatever. So technically, yes. Not really. There is a certain spectrum of skin colors that can be lighter or darker, but so far I've seen a lot more variety in the dragons here. We do have quite a number of different eye colors, though. Interesting. As for things that aren't immediately visible, we also have different blood types, but I assume you know about that. We certainly have those as well. Some people even believe your blood type influences your personality. That, on the other hand, is news to me. I don't think that's true. Does blood type really affect the personality? Anything else you want to know? Phew, where do you got so much? I'll have to think about it about if and how we can work all of this into the game. Have you worked on any other games before? I worked on a few small projects during the course of my studies, and also interned at a studio before. This is on a completely different level, though. How so? It's my game, so I'm the one calling the shots here. It's a very different thing than just making a few graphics when you're a part of a bigger team, for sure. I see. How long exactly have you been working on this? Phew! Must have been several months now. I've got everything planned out and a lot of the groundwork has already been done. The most difficult things are the characters themselves, and to make sure all of the details are accurate. Of course. Have you shown the game to other people yet? Sure. Feedback is a very important part of the development process, so I regularly gather ideas and opinions from others. I even made a website to do this. And what do they say? All kinds of things, really. Sometimes it's hard to decide which ones have a good point and which can be disregarded. Overall, it seems there are many people who are looking forward to playing my game, though. How many are we talking about? I don't know exactly. The counter on my website only tracks the number of visits, so I don't actually know how many different people there are. What if it doesn't work out? What do you mean? Well, you're investing a certain amount of time and money into making this game. Ideally, you would make back your investment and hopefully get some profit on top of that. If the goal is to make money, sure. However, I just wanted to try my hand at doing something like this. If some people are going to enjoy the end result, that's great. Don't forget that I'll also have made something that I can put on my resume. At the very least, it will have been a good learning experience. With that attitude, I suppose you really don't have anything to lose. I can always look for another job, and maybe I'll end up working at a game studio. But I think once I've started doing something like that, I might not get this opportunity again. So it's now or never, huh? In a nutshell, yes. And that all works out with your courier job? Sure, I can support myself this way and am not really under any pressure, since I don't have any deadlines to keep. Deadlines are a good way to ensure something gets done, though. You're right about that. It's something where balance is important, I think. I set deadlines for myself, but I don't have to worry about the project breaking down if I don't meet certain milestones at a certain time. What kind of tools are you using to make it? If I considered what some of your species look like, I'm having a hard time imagining how the bigger ones could program a game. While we do have devices tailored to each individual species, I can't deny that my dexterous hands make it a lot easier compared to some of the others. One downside is that I have to keep my nails short, or else using the keyboard gets a bit cumbersome. I imagine you'd have to be careful with those while working as a courier anyway. You're right about that. One wrong move and you've suddenly shredded the letter you were just about going to hand to someone. You should be more careful. Luckily, that kind of thing doesn't really happen to me anymore. Not only because of the shorter nails, but once you've worked there for a while, you just learn to be more careful. It's a bit sad not to have them as a natural letter opener anymore, though. And it's not just for me. Some people ask me to open their letters for them, since doing that on their own can be difficult, or some of the less dexterous and older ones. Have you been working as a courier for long? I just got this job a few months ago, but I had a part-time summer job at the post office when I was growing up. My species is perfectly suited for the job, so they were glad to have me on board. I can see why. Of course, being able to fly is a big plus. My size means I can't deliver any big packages, but I often get assigned to urgent letters that have to be delivered as soon as possible. Huh, it's getting late. Maybe we should leave it at that for today. Yeah, I should probably head back to my apartment before it gets too dark. I got more than enough material to work with. Thanks a lot. Don't worry about it. I'll just consider it a public service. Thank you for your time. Really. I promise I won't bother you again. What are you talking about? Well, I can't help but feel like you still thought this was a waste of time. I have to admit, I was kind of annoyed with the whole thing. I guess it showed. Don't get me wrong, I'm still incredibly grateful that you stuck around until the end, I'm just saying it won't happen again. Okay. I really should be going now. Take care. Yeah, you too. Hope. Chapter 2. Oh dear. That is not good. Well, alright. I think this is a good place to leave the episode. Now I'm on chapter 2 now. I wonder what I'm gonna find out in this, in these future episodes. I'm not sure what to expect, but, I wonder, did Razor really kill? I don't think so. I think there's someone else behind all this. And he's trying to, probably a human hater. But I'm sure it will all come to light soon enough. But in the meanwhile, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to see more in the future. I'll catch you later.